Saliva. Oh, catchy name. Tells you everything you need to know. They're coming through with a couple of other bands, Seven Circle Sunrise and Artificial Astronaut. It's going to go down next week? Yeah, the 18th, 1 week from tonight, at Temple Live in the Asylum Room. Ticketmaster.com has got all the information for you. But I'll get you this pair here for caller 10. Josie Scott, fronting Saliva, once again, back where he belongs. 216-578-1007 to win, or 800-348-1007.
Alan Cox.
A drummer, or even a real musician, he just makes a noise. If he played the violin or the piano, anything that made sense, but the drums.
100.7 WMMS.
How about that Tom Green boy?
Dude, he's such a great guy.
He's a sweetheart.
He was, as Mary put it, how'd you put it? He was as advertised. Very, very nice. And again, we've talked to him before. It's
Right.
just been a long time. But it would be nice to kind of be in a position to shed yourself of all that nonsense you didn't want to contend with anymore and get to see mom and dad, and you're out on the farm, and, you know, that's what we all want. Is that what we all want, to eventually be on a farm?
No.
After it's all over for us in showbiz, we're all going to retire to a farm somewhere? I mean, you can just come back to Berea. I mean, you know, not for
Honestly,
you. You don't want to
I
end up on a
would-
farm with a mule?
No.
Oh.
Nothing about a farm is appealing to me in any sense.
Well, you're
I
not
don't like
working the
being-
farm. You're living on one. Not a working
That's
farm.
what I'm saying.
Oh.
Like, I don't like the idea of being far away from stuff or people or groceries or coffee or anything.
I like the idea of having like a cabin I can get away to when I can, but
Right.
in the way my schedule is, I rarely have a weekend where I would be able to do that, so it's easier to just get an Airbnb when I want to get out of
Well, I
town.
don't mean that. I don't mean
But,
now.
Yeah, but eventually,
Down the road.
I can see myself down the road being in a much more rural place for sure.
No.
Like I'm talking late 60s, early 70s. Like
I don't think
yeah.
I'll ever like that. Why would you want to?
Well, listen, I'm absolutely an urban person, but those are usually the people who go, I gotta get out of here and go find some place I can breathe the air and blah blah blah.
There's nothing to do.
Well, you
That's
gotta
the whole
find,
point.
you find
You
things
fish,
to
you do
do. I mean, you
nothing, yeah.
fish.
I don't want to
You have the grandkids come out and visit you.
I'm not
they
gonna
come-
You're not gonna have
grandkids.
grandkids.
You're
I mean,
gonna
that's
have
off the table.
It's the fake ones, right? The steppies.
Fake grandkids.
The steppies like me.
My
yeah.
step grandma.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But
You-
that's
you- but
only
you don't
one.
wanna
Or even like
fish.
your like nieces and nephews when they're growing up, they have, you know, they go,
don't
oh,
know.
we're going out to Great Aunt Mare's
No,
farm
Why do the kids sound like that?
because they're from Kentucky.
I do have two nieces from Kentucky.
All right.
I opened for Tom Green. This is in Tampa 15, 16 years ago. And that was one of the best weekends doing stand-up I ever had because his crowd was so locked into just seeing anything funny. And like and they were like so supportive of him and
You can
me.
play with them.
And well they just liked great comedy, and I sold like $3,000 worth of t-shirts. Like I had all
Dang.
like I it was when I was driving everywhere, and so I drove down to Tampa and I had every shirt that I ever had made, and I sold every last one of them and made
That's awesome.
so much money. So I always appreciate Tom for having not just great fans, but great fans with deep pockets.
We still invariably at Casa Cox, Gwen and I, will, with some frequency, out of nowhere, just go, Daddy, would you like some sausage? Just start
Yeah.
singing it. And, you know, I didn't want to go too deep on the Freddie Got Fingered because, you know, but there's a video of my buddy Richard Roper, who wrote for the Chicago Sun-Times for a long time, and he replaced Gene Siskel on Ebert and Siskel at the Movies. Rich Roper replaced, I think, after Gene Siskel died. So it was him and Roger Ebert. And there's a great clip on YouTube of the two of them reviewing Freddie Got Fingered. And they're so angry about it. And it just
of people
makes
were.
me laugh so hard, not only watching the movie, but their reaction to it. Like, they thought that the movie rating system itself needed to be changed because Freddie Got Fingered only got an R. I mean, they like, and then they're showing a clip and they're talking. I'm like, I'm howling. I'm like, oh, God, it's so funny. And that's why I wanted a Rip Torn story, because Rip Torn played the dad, and, and he, in real life, Rip Torn was like a hellraiser. This was a guy getting in bar fights, and it's like 75 years old, So.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was Alec Baldwin told that story about him getting he's like, and
On Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars.
Yeah. And Seinfeld's like, when was this? He's like, when he was almost dead.
Last summer.
It's like
Oh, God, it's so good. Let me find this. Rich Roper and Roger Ebert.
Carrie looked like Laurence Olivier. It's a vomitorium of a movie starring Green as Gord, an obnoxious retard who makes it his life.
Now, don't forget that.
Yeah.
How much has changed, right? This would have been, oh, God, I'd have to ask him.
Off guard to hear that on the radio.
Right. Roger Ebert calling him that, yeah.
Starring Green as Gord, an obnoxious retard who makes it his life's work to freak out his dad, played with teeth-gnashing scorn by Rip Torn.
Oh, look, honey, our boy's a genius. He's rigged a pulley system so he can eat sausage and work on his stupid drawings.
I'm being creative. Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have some work to do. Daddy, would you like some sausage?
Oh, my God. But, yeah, they went on and on about how, like, they need to change the rating system because of this. Oh, it's so good. I love it. Alan, I was in Iraq in 2003, and Tom Green came while my unit was there, and he was awesome. He's Canadian. He's unfailingly polite, right? Yeah. Do his parents still have the slut mobile? Listen, there were a billion questions, that I could have. But he did bring his rescue dog in. He brought Charlie in.
Yeah.
He had mentioned before he went on the air that she was a rescue from the Bahamas.
Right. That's like the only time you can take something from the Bahamas and be like, I'm rescuing it.
I rescued some bananas that had they had a spider in them that
I feel
ended
like
up.
I'd rather be in the Bahamas, but Charlie's better off with Tom than in the Bahamas.
Yeah, although the Bahamas are beautiful.
Yeah, I've heard.
There's no doubt about it.
I've heard that.
The Bahamas are beautiful.
Alan with his controversial thought of the day.
Well, no, not a hot take, but it's like it's when you travel to these places. When we went to Jamaica, you travel to these places that are objectively gorgeous, but they're also so poverty-stricken that you feel weird enjoying yourself. Well, I do, I guess. And and people are like, no, this is great. You're bringing tourism dollars in. That's how those people, live down there.
Show trip.
But you feel weird about it.
Yeah, prove it. We freed up a bunch of money. Pound cake's gone.
Yeah, we got one less person to pay for.
I'm working on a show trip that you're going to love.
He would be so mad.
We're going to go to Prague.
Listen,
we're
I'm down.
not.
I'm down. I'll go. I'll go to Prague. Let's go.
It's not a beach, Mary. You can't go anywhere. You live in New York.
I can go wherever I want.
New York doesn't have airports.
They have a bunch. And actually, the one closest to my house was just recently voted the best airport in the country.
Which one was that?
LaGuardia. Because it's like brand new.
Because they redid it. Yeah. LaGuardia used to be a nightmare. Oh, my God.
Real hole back in the day.
Yeah.
I have never waited because it's like huge, dude. The way that, I've obviously never saw it before this, but I've never waited more than like 5, maybe 10 minutes to get through security. Like, it is a breeze.
LaGuardia used to just be
so many lines.
awful.
Well,
I
you
got to
also
get
got
in it now.
The fast pass thing, right?
I have clear and pre-check,
Yeah.
but a lot of the times the pre-check line is longer than the regular line.
That's a New York thing for sure, because in Cleveland, anytime you fly
sail
out,
through.
Yeah, it is.
You know how mad I was when I flew out of Cleveland with Brian and Blake, and he refuses to get pre-check. Refuses. A waste of my money. He sounds like a 90-year-old man.
He'd rather waste time than money. You can make more money. You can't make more time.
He would rather do anything than waste money. Well, it's not even a waste of money. I was
It's
like,
not a
dude,
waste
it's
of
been
money.
5 years, and he won't do it. He refuses to do it. So we're waiting in these stupid long lines, and I'm looking over at the pre-check line that's got 3 people.
Doesn't the line just make him mad?
The line makes me mad.
But doesn't it also make him mad?
Yeah, he gets frustrated.
But
and why's it's taking so long and this, that, and the other.
He's chosen to be in that line.
Yeah, and I'll tell him, well, you could have spent $75 and we wouldn't have to be in this line for the next 5 years.
He did it so that you could get mad, and then you would give him the first class seat.
Probably. It was all along. He didn't know I had been upgraded, though. I didn't tell him that until we got to the gate.
He knew it was going to happen.
We fell in.
He knows you're a big shot.
We have discovered the perfect way to travel. We flew to Orlando, but my in-laws drove. So what we did is we all packed
Stole their
bags
car.
a couple of weeks ahead of time. And when my wife was visiting them, she took our luggage and then they drove it down. So when we flew, we just had backpacks on us. It was awesome.
Yeah, but that
Pre-check,
doesn't happen.
I mean, what?
How often is that actually going to
No,
happen?
I know. What I'm saying is, but that's like our spring break trip every year is with the in-laws down to Florida. Her dad rents a huge house or whatever. So I'm like, at least on that trip, because there's 3 of us going, it's not just me and Gwen traveling, I'm like, that's how we're going to do it. We're going to have them drive the luggage down. Now, I have to go get it from their house next week, when I go see my older daughter. But man, it was great. Because with the pre-check, and you're not carrying anything or not waiting for anything to get checked, it was, oh my God, from like curb to terminal. It was literally
there's
10
nothing
minutes.
to do. Well, and that's the other thing is that I fly with United so often that I have like Premier Gold status with them. So my first 2 checked bags are free. Whoever on my reservation gets 2 free checked bags. We get the Comfort Plus seating for free. So as long as Brian and Blake or whoever I'm traveling with is on the same reservation as me, they get access to all that stuff. Priority boarding, lounge access, all that. So they flew back from Phoenix to Cleveland, not on my reservation because I was going back to Indianapolis to do shows. So he had to pay for his bag. He was in row like 28 and didn't have any access to like the lounges with free food and drinks and stuff at the airport. And he's like, dude, traveling like a poor person sucks. Like, this is the worst thing. I was like, yeah, but the only reason why we get all those perks is because I have spent thousands and thousands of dollars. Like, that's the only reason why we're getting all these express treatments and everything like that.
I just don't know why you would opt to stand in line if there was a way. It's not like you have to pay every time. You pay for TSA pre-check.
I have tried, and it's good for 5 years. I have tried every year. We take 2 vacations where we fly, and I have tried every time to get him to get pre-check beforehand, and he won't do it. He doesn't think it's worth it.
Well, because he doesn't travel that much.
Right, but it's good for 5 years.
And my point is, even if you
That's
traveled
10 flights where you don't have to. You're saving yourself at least 4 or 5 hours.
Right. And you don't have to mess with all the nonsense with the belts and the are they still doing that in the regular lines? The belts and the shoes and all that crap?
Depending on the airport that you're in, you don't have to take anything out. You don't have to take out your laptops. You don't have to take. And now, again, I am going through pre-check more than regular screening. But there are some airports like that they won't make you take your shoes off anymore. Where they're like, yeah, you're fine with your shoes. Or you don't have to pull your laptop out. You just have to tell them which bag it's in when you go through the general boarding.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed your time off. This is Eric from Penn Hills, Pennsylvania calling. I wanted to call to give Mary credit for something she said way back in 2022. Nope, this wasn't on one of the Some Of shows from last week. I actually went back to some podcasts I missed back in 2022, specifically the day that you moved out of Oak Tree Boulevard. Now she said Hasbro, the game company, is short for Has Brothers. You all laughed, but she's actually pretty close. It's short for Hasenfeld Brothers. Just want to give her credit.
Suck it.
What an arcane bit of information. He was listening to podcasts from 2 years ago. Has Brothers. Yeah.
Well, you guys give crap like that all the time. How many times have we given Cody crap like that and it ends up being right?
I know we don't have to do that anymore.
It could be the Has Brothers. You don't know anything.
Well, no, it's funny on its face, but it turns out to be partially true. You know, the best comedy, Mary, and I know I don't have to tell you this, is rooted in truth.
Yeah.
A kernel of
thought
truth.
Mary likes not just comics that lie, but magicians and the sort.
Here's the thing, Bill.
No.
I don't
Because
like
she doesn't
thinking
want,
about
this
it.
is why she doesn't like magic. We've learned, this is another piece of the puzzle. The reason she doesn't like magic
They're all liars.
is because she can't picture in her brain what's happening.
The deception.
She can't put a visual story together.
That makes a lot more sense now.
Of course.
They're also not talking you through their trick. They're just doing the trick.
No,
So
a
there
lot of
wouldn't
them
be
do
anything for
talk
me
you
to
through the trick.
picture. There
I
wouldn't
mean,
be anything for me to picture.
well, they don't, a lot of them narrate what's going on. Obviously, they're not going to reveal to you how they do it, but they're
Maybe that is
weaving a tale that goes with their illusion.
The narration is the distraction.
Mm-hmm.
and then I feel dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
All right. Well, that's all part of it.
The next
Speaking of
album.
games, by the way, I read that Mattel. Now, again, I don't quite understand this, but I do like the premise of it. Mattel is launching a new version of Scrabble, which they describe as less competitive. So, are you a dummy? Do you not know a lot of words? You just play regular Scrabble if you don't know words, and you
just don't win.
You're at the mercy of what letters you have anyway. So maybe they just want people to start buying Scrabble again, but I just like the way they put it. A less competitive version of Scrabble. I never think of Scrabble as a game that you're not playing unless you do have a pretty good vocabulary. I don't think there's a lot of dummies going to Scrabble.
I've never played with someone who had a good vocabulary.
Really?
I played
Then
with a
why
guy-
play Scrabble? The fun
don't
is
know.
how you're going to make these words with,
I went on a couple dates over COVID with a guy, and one of them we played Scrabble, and he was horrendous. And I don't know if he lost on purpose, but that wasn't the move because I was like, "You're an idiot." Like he didn't put any words that were longer than 4 letters. And then I've played with my niece.
Well,
who's
you are at the
12.
mercy of your tiles, so maybe he didn't have much to work
I don't
with.
know about all that.
Maybe he had a Q and an X, like high score letters, but just not enough vowels.
Maybe. I've played with my niece who's 12. I haven't played Scrabble with many people.
I used to play with Chad Daniels, and he was so goddamn good at it.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean in person.
No,
I'm
like
not
we-
talking like words
okay.
with friends or anything
No,
like
we
that.
played like the Scrabble game, like the official Scrabble game for a few years, and it was just like every once in a while I'd beat him, and I'd feel like the smartest person alive because he's in Mensa. So when I'd beat him, it'd be like, oh, I actually beat a smart person.
Sure.
And he's like, oh no, my son played for it. I'm like, nah, don't
He's
burst
in
my
Brooklyn
bubble.
tonight.
Yeah,
I'm
he
going to
is.
see him in Brooklyn.
Mattel says that the makers of Scrabble, I guess that's them, but their press release, Mattel found that the younger people, Gen Z, don't like the competitive nature of Scrabble. God bless you, Gen Z. You're all, I don't know what's going to happen to you, but I certainly hope it works out for you.
Everybody wins games.
So, yeah, new kind of Scrabble. Listen, you got to keep this is how these kinds of games last so long, is they adapt and they morph to new generations. And that's what they're doing. Less competitive. I got a break here. I'm going to have those Better Than Ezra tickets for you. They are going on tour, getting ready to drop a new album. It's called Super Magic. It's going to be out